it's mostly English in the company. So I do have a boyfriend who's German, so it's getting better.
Wow, that's the perfect way to learn a language.
Exactly, yeah.
Hi dancers! Today I have the pleasure to be here with Emma Garrison, a professional ballet dancer with junior ballet of the Ballet Dortmund. I'll start asking her how is she, and then we will start discovering her path and her career as a dancer. Hi Emma, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'll start asking you, how is your typical day structure?
So we start class at 10 most days, and I would try to wake up around 7:45, but I usually wake up at 8 or 8:15 if I'm really tired. And then I always eat a really good breakfast. I'll like start the coffee and the food while I'm brushing my teeth and everything, double tasking to save time.
Yeah?
And then I walk to the theater around 9:15. If we have class at the theater or if we're having class at the Ballet Zentrum, I'll leave around the same time, a bit earlier, so because we have to take the train.
Okay.
And then we have class from 10 until 11:15 or 11:30, and then rehearsal until 2. A 1-hour lunch break, and then rehearsal from 3 until 6. So after that, I usually stay in the studio and stretch, because I know if I go home before I stretch, it won't happen. And I mean, some days I'm not at the studio that late. It just depends on the rehearsal schedule. I could be leaving at 12:30 or the last one in the studio at 6. It all depends.
Yeah.
And then after that, dinner, or relaxing with my cat, watching a bit of TV by myself, or sometimes I like to go out with friends and make plans during the week to get out of the routine.
That's nice. And what role did you love the most to play in your career until now?
It's a hard question because so far my career is just 1 year and it's during. But in school, my favorite role I did was William Tell. It's a little Bournonville ballet kind of like flower festival.
Yeah.
And it was super, super fun because I got to do acting and be sort of like flirty and cheeky. So that was really fun. And then when I came here, my favorite role I've done so far is from our junior ballet director. It's called Regen in deinen dunklen Augen, which means rain in your dark eyes. And it's a bit more neoclassical contemporary, but it's definitely my favorite that I've done since I got to the company.
Wow, nice. Have you learned German?
Oh, I'm trying. It's really hard. I think especially...
You have a good pronunciation.
Oh, thank you. I think especially during... it's a bit hard to learn any language because everyone's wearing the mask and we're not speaking so much to random people, German people. It's mostly English in the company. So I do have a boyfriend who's German, so it's getting better.
Wow, that's the perfect way to learn a language.
Exactly, yeah. We also have a Deutsch course. We have German course with our junior ballet contract.
Wow.
But yeah, it's just a bit hard to learn the grammar and everything.
Yeah, German is a hard language. I lived in Basel 3 years and I tried to learn German. I studied a little bit in Italy as well. And but still I think I'll have to make like 1 year intensive course, otherwise I will never speak German. And as well, if you can practice is good, but if you cannot practice and you're just studying it with the books, the grammar, it doesn't work.
That's the thing, that our Deutsch course is mostly books and writing, so I get super nervous to speak to people. also because, we're dancers. I don't want to make mistakes. We're all perfectionists, and I get scared that I'm going to make a mistake, but I'm slowly getting comfortable with making mistakes here and there and being corrected so that I can learn more of the language.
Yeah, that's perfect. Very good. So now I have a question that is a little bit complicated. I mean, how important is the body in dance? It is really, really important. And have you ever been pressured in this regard? How did you react? How did you deal with this?
The body is really important in ballet and all of the dance world. I mean, it's natural. Our instrument is our body. That's what we work with. So of course, it has to be in good shape. You have to be healthy. I think it used to be in the ballet world that dancers were trying to look so thin and fragile, like paper, And thankfully, we've sort of progressed from that. We're getting into more like healthy, athletic bodies because we are athletes and our bodies should have muscle. So I think that's something that's been really lucky to be part of this generation and not, back in the 70s when everybody had to be stick thin, and maybe I would have run into some problems there. But so far I'm lucky that, I have a very fast metabolism and my body is naturally more athletic and thin, which not everybody has. So I'm very grateful for that, for my genetics. Other than the appearance and sort of the being thin as a dancer, I did struggle in other areas in a very big way. I'm not naturally flexible at all.
Okay.
My knees used to be bent and I had bad feet when I was a kid. So I had to I stayed with my feet under the couch for 3 years every day doing this to get nice feet and doing really unhealthy things like pushing my knees back to make them hyperextended and crazy stuff like we all do when we're that age, But now because I worked so much, I do have a nice shape of the leg and everything because I forced it. But I'm still not flexible. I still have to work at that literally every day. If I don't stretch for even one day, it gets really
gets
tight.
Back.
Yeah, it goes right back to where I was before.
So you're lucky in a way and a little bit less in other ways, but I mean, it's like this for everyone. Everyone has... In Italy we say chi ha il pane non ha i denti e chi ha i denti non ha il pane. It means the ones that have bread, they don't have teeth. And the one that has teeth, they don't have bread. So it's everything like this in life, but it's okay. But have you ever had bad moments, like injuries? How did you react to this?
I have had a lot of injuries because of the aforementioned forcing everything onto my body. I always say that my body doesn't want me to do ballet, but I want to do ballet. I've had so many injuries. I think mostly it stems really from poor technique, though. I didn't grow up with like super strong technique, and I got a lot of injuries from that. And because the US, we take all of our classes on point from the age of like 13. We start taking everything on point, like bar, all the technique class, then you have variations and a point class and pas de deux. Absolutely everything's in point shoes.
Oh my God.
Which, as you can imagine, results in lots of injuries. So I actually made a list to make sure I would remember all of my injuries. And maybe,
oh my God.
So the younger dancers can hear that it's not always easy. I've had 2 stress fractures in my right foot, 1 stress fracture in my left foot, lots and lots of tendonitis, a fracture in my fibula on my left side. I have scoliosis. My hips are very uneven. I've had 2 dislocated ribs.
What?
And then I
can't believe.
And then I had a huge hip injury when I was 16.
Oh my God.
It was like a 6-year long injury. I damaged my hip when I was 10 years old. I remember that I woke up in the middle of the night and I couldn't walk. It hurt so much. But we just thought it was a
Really?
cramp or something. Yeah. And so we didn't go to the doctor. And then for 6 years after that, I was told that I am just not flexible, that I need to stretch more, that, I'm not naturally flexible and I need to work at it. And that's why my left hip doesn't open. And then when I was dancing in the school at Boston Ballet, I was doing Nutcracker with the company. And after about, I think 40 something shows of Nutcracker, I couldn't walk anymore because of my pain in my left hip. Finally got an MRI, and I felt very validated after all these years of stretch coaches and physiotherapists just telling me that I was inflexible because I had a labral tear. They didn't even know what was wrong with my hip until I went into surgery to fix it. It was that messy.
God.
So I think I ended up having a labral tear, a bone callus, 2 bone spurs, a cyst, and cartilage decay in my left hip.
Oh my God. Everything could possibly happen to a hip, you had it.
It happened.
In the same time.
It happened, exactly.
Oh my
So my
God.
piece of advice on injuries for young dancers, don't always trust the physiotherapist or the doctor until you get a scan done. Make sure you get it checked out because they don't always know what they're talking about.
Yeah. And forcing our body, in a way, it's our job. But we have to do it every time with the right mindset and with balance, because otherwise it can get really, really bad.
Yeah, and to learn the difference between, a good
bad pain and good
a bad
pain. Yeah.
Or not a good pain, because there's never really good pain, but pain that's okay and pain that's not okay, because all the doctors told me that my pain was okay and it was actually bone grinding against another bone. So it's important, you know your body and to trust yourself and your feeling if you're feeling something's wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And when you were little, you didn't know that they were not teaching you the right basics of dance, with your body and everything. But if now young dancers can hear our words and can really be search information and understand that what they're learning, it's not the best, it's not really professional, they have to change school or find a place that can really care for them and not put them on point, for example 6 years old, making them do fouette at 10 years old. That I don't know.
That's me. I was in point shoes at 9 years old, and immediately doing everything in point shoes, no real point technique class. And it's not, I loved it was a very small studio in Texas where I grew up, and I loved it, but it wasn't good for basic technique. Very good for finding the joy of dance, but not so good for the technique. I had to work really hard to fix it much later in my career, and it was 10 times harder than if I had just had good technique. And also cross training, now I get small pains like we all do, but so far I have had no big injuries in a few years.
That's good.
Because of cross training. And I think that's a big thing that dancers need to start younger. Not cross training the workout where you're with the ropes and everything. I mean, training more than just ballet, Pilates or yoga, weights, cardio, injury prevention, impact training. It's all really, really useful for
fundamental.
longevity. Yeah. Actually, after my hip surgery, the surgeon told my mom while I was, asleep after the surgery that I would never dance again. That it was
my God.
Totally messed up in there, and there was no way for me to get back to the range of motion that I need for ballet. And my mom told him, "You're not allowed to tell her this. She cannot know this." And I think that's the reason I'm still dancing now, because the recovery process was so hard. I really almost quit several times.
Yeah.
But because of my mom, because I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to be doing any of this, I have way better range of motion than even before my surgery, and that's really the only reason that I'm here dancing professionally now, which is very exciting.
Yeah. Thank you really for this, for talking and telling us your story, your incredible story. That's important. That's really important. And now, do you have any funny anecdotes to tell us?
I do. I mean, like anybody, I have so many embarrassing moments from classes or rehearsal or school. But there's one specifically that I remember all of the time, and also because I think there's an important lesson sort of mixed in with it. I was 14 at a summer course at the School of American Ballet.
Yeah.
And the director of the school, Kay Mazzo, was teaching class, and it was a really big deal because you could get invited to like the year-round program, and she was making the decisions and sort of seeing who she liked. And we were going to the left doing a PK combination, like a turning combination. And I went to do a PK attitude turn, and my foot fell from under me, and I just completely laid out on the floor.
Oh my God.
Super loud. My hands slapped on the floor. My face was down. Like, oh my gosh. It was so embarrassing. And I was like in the front of the two that were going, you know? So I look up from the floor, and Kay has her hands over her face. Her eyes are huge. Everybody's like, oh my God, what happened? I look up, I look around, and immediately, with a huge smile on my face, jump up, do a tendu back with my arms up, and run off like I'm on stage. And it was like,
amazing. Everybody
started laughing and clapping, and I think it was super funny, but it also goes to show that it really is not how you fall, it's how you get up.
Yeah, it's true.
That's probably my favorite story, but
amazing.
I have a lot of embarrassing moments.
Oh my God, so funny, so funny. Oh, and I know that you are also enjoying choreographing. And I would like to ask you, how do you approach the process of choreographing?
So for me, music is absolutely the most important thing. It always comes first. I think part of that is because I was Balanchine trained for a very long time, and musicality is a huge part of Balanchine training, that you can't be behind the music. If anything, you're a little bit on top of it, and that the dancing represents the music, not the other way around.
Exactly.
So I always find the music first. I never have an idea for something and then find the music. I find the music first.
Same.
And then generally I have sort of steps in my head from different parts of the music that will kind of, because it inspires me. Maybe there's an instrument that gives me the inspiration for the kind of movement that I want to do. So I'll get the movement first, like the style of the piece, and then when I go in to actually choreograph, I'll kind of connect the different, I call them like landmarks throughout the music, where I know what I want to do with a step. Or an idea. But it's generally, for me, pretty fluid and pretty quick. I don't want to labor through a choreography. If I'm working too much to find a step, I usually know that it's not the right music, and I'll find something else, because the piece that I did most recently, actually, it's called What Are You Afraid Of? And it's my favorite thing I've done so far, which for me is a big deal, because normally I really don't like what I choreograph, like most of us, But I really liked this one, and before I started choreographing it, I had a few rehearsals with a different piece of music that was also really nice, but I kept redoing a step, redoing the same section, getting stuck at a certain part in the music. So one day I just said, I'm gonna try and find something else, and if I don't, I can keep doing this one, but I think I should find a different piece of music. And I was actually in the bath listening to just different classical music that I just go through Spotify and listen to things related to other pieces that I like, or new composers or
the
things
suggestions.
Like that. Yes, exactly. And I found a piece called Prologue by Christopher Wallen. It's like 3 minutes and 28 seconds or something, and beautiful, beautiful music. And I was like, that's it. And instead of like the other rehearsal with the other music, that was a few weeks, I was able to finish choreographing this other one in, I think, 3 rehearsals. It was really fast.
Wow.
And while I know that can't happen every time, that's really something, divine intervention, that it was that quick and that easy. I still don't think that, for me, laboring through the choreography, I think it will show in the choreography. So musicality, natural movement that is suggested by the music, and just an easy flow throughout the choreography, that it makes sense.
That's nice, very nice. It happens the same to me. I always start with the music. I think I could not start to choreograph without the music, just with steps. I think it would be not possible. Yeah. And
I would get lost for sure.
Yeah, exactly. There wouldn't be an idea, a concept behind, And I would like to ask you, how did you experience the transition from being a ballet student to work as a professional ballet dancer?
So, because I worked a lot as a student with different companies, it was pretty natural. And also because I got used to working by myself through my many, many injuries. That, you have to really look for the corrections yourself. You have to learn from the people around you, and be self-reliant in a way, because you're not always going to have a ballet master or a director that will pay attention in class or give corrections. I mean, I think we're very lucky in the NRV Junior Ballet that they do give a really mindful class, and they really care about our development as dancers, and they want to help us grow and move on to the companies after the junior ballet, But you still have to learn that skill and be self-sufficient. So for me, the transition was totally smooth. But I think if I didn't have this prior company experience with, Boston Ballet and Miami City Ballet, that it wouldn't have been as easy, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And the strange thing, at least for me, it's getting paid for dance, because it's my passion. And at the beginning, when you just have a job and you start to understand how it works, for me it was really, really strange. How did you manage your finances and to the idea of getting paid and having a salary to dance? It's weird at the beginning. At least for me.
It was a bit weird because you go from paying to dance. In my case, I didn't have a scholarship or anything, so you pay to dance, you pay for this and that, you pay for your point shoes, to being paid for all of this, getting free shoes, and health insurance and taxes and rent and all of these things that you maybe didn't have to think about before. Again, I was just lucky. My mom knew that I would have to start doing all of this really young because of my career. And she gave me, my own debit card with a budget from a young age. So I had to learn already how to budget and
Wow.
to see kind of my expenses every month and what I spend too much on and what I need to spend more on. And then I also lived alone in an apartment from when I was 17 until 19 in school in Miami. I didn't pay my rent, but I did have to, I had to be conscious of it and learn, the grocery shopping and all of these things that seem like nothing, but actually it's such hard work when you've worked 8 hours and the last thing you want to do is go to the grocery store. Exactly. I was just lucky. I don't know. My mom made sure that I was
prepared,
self-sufficient, and that I knew what I was doing. I think still the taxes thing, I've only been working 1 year. I haven't done a full fiscal year in Germany yet, so I haven't had to do taxes. So that will be new this year, and I'm a little nervous, but
maybe your boyfriend can help you.
Yeah, I'm sure. That's a good point, actually. I'll make sure and ask him. But in terms of budgeting with our salary, the junior ballet is technically an educational program, so we are not paid a full salary according to German standards. So it is a little hard to budget that. Again, all the time I'm saying this, but I'm lucky my mom can help me a bit, that my parents can help me, and I don't have to just be living with what they give us at the theater, especially during, we're supposed to get extra money for performances, but we weren't.
But you didn't,
So the salary was very small. They did help us out a bit with that. The theater was amazing throughout, making sure that we weren't, out on the streets, that we could still pay our rent and buy groceries and everything. But I think the most important thing is just being mindful about the price of groceries, which I still am really bad at. If my friends see this, they're gonna laugh because I'm so bad about looking at the price when I'm buying groceries, because I'm like, I want grapes, but they're, €6 today. Maybe that's not a good idea. So groceries was hard. And then, utilities. Just a warning to all these young dancers going out to start paying rent and have apartments. Your rent is not your whole rent. You still have to pay €140 with electricity and gas, and it's the worst. So just keep that in mind.
It seems that the money are never enough when you start to live alone. A lot of expenses come from, surprise.
Yeah, exactly. And also because it was time the whole past year, we all developed vices while we were not working enough, or we can't go out to restaurants. And mine was online shopping.
Oh my God.
Not a good idea.
No.
Don't do that. No. I definitely had to learn the hard way a couple of times, just eating pasta for a week straight.
Oh my God.
Because I spent too much money and all I could afford was just to eat pasta.
Oh my God. But that dress was amazing, I think.
Exactly. You know what? Now that I'm fine, I'm like, it was totally worth it. But at the time, I was so stressed.
Oh my God.
So
it happened to me as well.
If you're going to develop a habit,
when I was in Basel,
don't spend your money.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that they would last forever, maybe 400 francs. I was like, wow, I can do everything. And then, Mom, exactly. I don't have money anymore. She was like, okay, for this time, I can help you. The next time, you're not gonna have money. So
that's the most embarrassing thing is going to my mom and being like, can you help me to eat, because I spent all my money on this pair of shoes.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how, I don't know. It's strange, but it's not my fault.
I think that's sort of you have to learn through experience with that. I think there's nothing anybody's going to say to you that's going to stop you from buying that shirt if you really want it and you have money, So I would warn the young dancers, but they're probably gonna do it anyway. So
Exactly.
have fun eating pasta for a week.
If you had the chance to take a coffee with a star of the ballet world, who would it be?
This, I didn't even think about it. Marianela Nunez.
Oh,
She
me
is
too.
my ultimate, oh my gosh, I'm such a fangirl over her. She's like the ultimate ballerina to me. She's so graceful and poised, and her technique is so beautiful, and her artistry, everything. And I would just want to ask her so many things, tips and advice, and how to roll down from the pirouette instead of jumping down. But yeah, I would love to have a conversation with her. She seems like a really beautiful person, and obviously she's a beautiful dancer. So
she worked a lot, and she has an amazing body now. I mean,
yes,
she's
I think
she's healthy.
Yeah, she's so healthy. That's my thing with her. That's another reason why she inspires me so much, because in the ballet world, my body is not. In the US, we say like there's the European body and the American ballet body, and I have more the American ballet body, which is more athletic and not quite so long, and like the lines are a bit different, and it's so nice to see somebody really strong and athletic with lots of muscles at the place where she is in her career. It's so inspiring, and really a vote of confidence for me. Also that, of course, she has beautiful, beautiful legs and extensions, but they're not like these Russian all the way, Svetlana Zakharova all the way behind her head. It actually seems achievable, and that's another thing that made me feel almost understood in a way, or represented, that there's somebody who's just strong and healthy and so ethereal still, so light and graceful. So
And something that I love about her is like her positivity, the way she smiles every time. I don't like the dancers that are constantly in a bad mood and frustrated because they cannot do a step. She's always smiling. She's like, okay, she accepts and she works. She tries to get the correction. She's always improving, but in a happy way. So this is something that I love as well about her.
Yes, I totally agree. That's another thing, she's not cynical or jaded, or like you said, she doesn't get down on herself if she can't get something one day. And I think that's a really important role model for young dancers, and also for me to have somebody to look to and say, maybe it's not the best pirouette I ever did, but it's my best for today, and it's good enough. Yeah. And you just have to keep working on what you can work on, and leave everything else to, don't try and control everything. Just work on what you can.
Exactly.
And let it go.
Exactly. Absolutely, yeah. And now we go back when you were a little kid, and I want to ask you, how was your passion for dance born, and what was your training path?
So I started dancing when I was 3, and nobody knows why I loved ballet so much. It was my second word was ballet. And I was asking to go to ballet since I could form a sentence. Not even just ballet, like just asking one word, can I go? And we couldn't start until we were 3 at the local studio, so I had to wait. But once I started, I think it's really it was a series of decisions, of small decisions throughout my childhood, like soccer or ballet, or football or ballet, taekwondo or ballet, tap or ballet, hip-hop, ballet, until birthday party or ballet, until it's just natural that it's a part of your life and it's a part of who you are. And I don't know, for me it's more than something I like to do, or even more than something that I love to do. It feels like a part of me, and it's like I would suffocate without it, without it in some way.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's natural that you have to retire or you get injured or something, but just being in the world, and I just love it so much. I don't know how to explain it.
And then from the little studio you were in Texas, where did you went?
So from the small studio in Texas, I was there until I was 12. And then I went to, I moved a lot, so get ready. I went to the Gussie Kirkland Academy in New York City for 1 year. But it was a bit too much for how young I was. It was like, you know, from 8:30 a.m. until 6:30 p.m., which is way too much at 12 years old. So I went back to Texas actually for 2 years and trained with Paul Mejia, who is a prominent dancer and choreographer and director within the Balanchine world. And then after a couple of years, I went to Boston Ballet in the pre-professional program for 1 year. And then I went to Ballet Academy East in New York City for 1 year. And then I went to Miami for 2 years. There was, you know, it took me a while to find somewhere where I really felt like home and where the training is what I needed. But Miami, I really found, you know, my ballet family and my home, and where I felt most comfortable and like I could grow the most. So that's where I finished my training for 2 years before I got my job here in Germany.
Oh, that's nice.
And something... Oh, sorry.
No, go on.
Something that I think is interesting to at least my friends when I moved here, or at least, you know, to European dancers, is that in the US, we don't get a diploma from ballet school. You don't really graduate. You just stop going to school and go to a company.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't exist. A ballet diploma doesn't exist in the US. So
I didn't know this.
Yeah, a really interesting difference, cultural difference.
Yeah, it's different because we have a graduation, a ceremony, and everything. We get diploma, and then we move on.
We
That's
have
cool.
like I don't know. We have final performances, but we don't do exams. We don't have like a class exam or contemporary exam or ballet exam. It's just like you take your last class and then you do your last performance and you get a big hug from everyone and then you leave.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. And I have a last question for you. I would like to ask you, what message would you like to send to young dancers that are still searching their path and their way in the world of dance?
There are so many things I could say and that I thought about, but I think the most important thing that I found is just don't give up. Because that's, for me, what I've seen, that's the main difference between being in the school and being in a company, being core and being principal, is that you just can't give up. If you really want it and you really love it and you have the passion for it, you'll find somewhere to dance. You'll find, you know, there's always an opportunity for everybody, for every body type and every level, there's an opportunity. And if you just don't give up and you keep working and you keep looking, you will find something. And I also think it's really important not to forget why you love dancing. Maybe not why you started, because I can't remember why I started, but to not forget the reason why you keep going, because that feeling that you get from, at least for me, from dancing is totally unlike anything I think you can find on planet Earth. And it's totally worth it if you just keep going and try to find the joy in every day. Find the joy in class, because you take class every day. It's always there. It's my favorite part of the day. And if you can find the joy there, it will carry you through the hard days. And I think that's the most important thing.
For sure. Thank you so much, Emma. It was a pleasure to have you here and to listen to your story, your incredible story between injuries and everything else. I mean, you made it, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah,
thank you so much
for inviting me. It was really nice to meet you and to talk with you, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you. For sure, it would be a pleasure and an inspiration, your story, to all the young dancers that are listening to us. So, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.